Today, we're diving into a really powerful story from Caesarea Kahania. It's a fable, a simple one on the surface, but it asks a huge question. When a whole community is on the brink of collapse, where does help really come from? Turns out, it's a simple story with a pretty deep answer about what strength and survival are all about.
So let's jump right in. The story kicks off with this line from a deer, and man, you can just feel the dread. This isn't your average sunny day. Nope. This is the beginning of a real crisis, and the enemy, well, it's not some bad guy, it's nature itself.
All right, so our first section is called A Son of Fire, and that's exactly what we're going to see. Who's in this story and the massive challenge they're all about to face. One that's going to test everyone, especially their king, to the absolute limit.
So let's meet our main characters. You've got the lion, he's the king, right? Powerful, but a good guy. Then there's the deer, who's kind of the thoughtful, worried one in the group, and the donkey, just hardworking, always observing. They're this little community, and everything, absolutely everything, depends on this one pond.
But that peaceful life, well, it's about to get turned upside down. And what I think is so interesting here is that the villain isn't some monster or an army. It's just the weather, a brutal, relentless heat wave that just keeps going.
And this is when you know it's serious. It's not just a concern anymore. Even the lion, the king, the one who's supposed to be in charge of everything, basically says, we are in deep, deep trouble. He's admitting that all his strength, all his power can't fix this. That's a huge moment, right? When the person in charge admits they're powerless. That feeling of helplessness really sets the stage for what happens next. As the heat just keeps hammering down, their lifeline, that pond, starts to disappear. And you know, it's not just about the water, it's their hope that's drying up too. See, this isn't something that happens overnight. It's this slow-motion disaster. At first, it's just a little worry. Then, a few days later, the pond's definitely lower. Then the smaller pools are just gone. And suddenly, everyone has to face this awful truth. Their only source of water is vanishing, right in front of them. And then the deer comes back with the worst possible news. He's searched everywhere, and there's nothing, no other water. They're completely trapped. The forest that was their home, their safe place, it's just become a prison, and the clock is ticking.
But just when it feels like all hope is lost, the story pivots. We zoom out and we meet someone new, someone watching from the edge of the forest who sees what's happening and really feels for them.
And this, right here, is the big turning point. Despair meets kindness, and one person's choice is about to change, well, everything. Yeah, this is the key. He doesn't just feel bad for them. He doesn't just sit there and hope it rains. He sees the trouble they're in and makes a really simple but powerful decision. I should help. He decides to do something. That's the difference, isn't it? Going from feeling sympathy to taking action. And you can see the two different worlds here, right? On one side, you have the animals, just stuck in this loop of fear and getting weaker. And then on the other side, you have this man who is driven by compassion, and that compassion leads him to act. It's powerlessness versus taking charge. So what does he do? He gets a big basket, fills it up with food, and, crucially, water. And then he starts walking right into the middle of this dying forest. He's literally carrying hope with him. And listen to his first words when he gets there. He doesn't say, oh, you poor animals. He says, friends. Think about that. He's not talking down to them. He's making a connection, telling them they're in this together. He's not there to pity them. He's there to be their partner. So, okay. His arrival solves the immediate problem, right? They have food, they have water, but the story's not over, because now it stops being about just surviving and starts being about something much, much bigger, what it means to be united. And who points this out? The lion, the king himself. He looks at this man and realizes, wow, this guy's kindness, that's a power that's way bigger than my own strength. And that's a total game changer. It redefines what strength even is. It's not about being the strongest. It's about being connected. So as they're all eating together, the real lessons start to become clear. This isn't just about the drought anymore. It's about how no problem is too big when you face it together. That kindness is a type of strength. And that in a crisis, your community is the most important thing you have.
Okay, so for our last part, let's look at the ripple effect, because this one act of kindness did more than just feed them. It completely changed the feeling, the entire mood of the forest.
I love this idea. The heat is still there, right? The problem didn't just vanish. But now there's this feeling of hope, of friendship. Their situation on the outside hasn't changed, but on the inside, everything has changed. The fear is gone, replaced by something much, much better.
And you can see this change in each of them. First up, the lion. He gets it now. Real strength isn't about being the biggest and toughest. It's about sticking together.
Then you have the deer. Remember how worried he was at the start? Now he's full of hope. He feels like they can get through anything together. That feeling of doom is just gone.
And finally, the donkey just hits the nail on the head. He basically says that what's making him strong isn't the food, it's knowing he's not alone. And isn't that the truth? The best cure for fear is knowing someone has your back. So that's really the big takeaway, isn't it? That tough times aren't just there to knock us down. When you face them with kindness and teamwork, they can actually make you stronger. They bring you closer together. And that leaves us with one final question to chew on. What's more powerful in the end? The physical strength of a king or the simple kindness of a stranger? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.